Well, I moved. I knew there was going to be a day when I graduated high school and got to college, but it felt like a very out there, surreal idea, kind of like in the distant future. And now I'm here, and I'm like in my dorm where I put everything up, and I'm like, oh my god, I live here now. Which I've been praying for years. I'm very happy I'm in college. I hated high school, it sucked. And so I'm happy I'm here. The process of moving was pretty chaotic because I was not moving to college like normal kids where you're picking and choosing what's in your room and like, oh, that looks like it might be cute. It was my parents are moving as well. So it was me going through all my earthly possessions and figuring out what is worth keeping and what is worth giving somewhere else, which is a traumatizing process because you're already moving and changing like your whole world, and then on top of that you're getting rid of the things that you grew up with and were familiar to you. So it's a little bit of like, it's a little too much change. I attend the University of Arizona, which is in Tucson, not Phoenix, which I did not think was an important thing to know until no one knows anything about the University of Arizona. So the first thing they ask you all the time is, how far is that from Phoenix? Oh my god, I was about to lose it. I understand people are trying to be nice, but can we ask a question that can not also be answered by Google Maps? Like, I personally, I feel like there's so many questions to ask someone that's going to college than the distance from the only city you know in the state. If you're curious, it's 2 hours from Phoenix. So yeah, I will not be going on a plane every weekend, okay? Going to the University of Arizona versus the other schools I could have gone to is an experience of its own. I come from the suburbs, and at least the town I grew up in, no one would say it, so it was like kind of an unspoken thing, but there was a lot of academic pressure to go to not even Ivy schools, but like little Ivies or prestigious schools that are known for education, which you would think of all people, I would not be the person to succumb to that pressure. I was raised for some of my life by a single dad, which his famous saying to me growing up was, stay in school and don't do drugs, and if you pass, I'll be proud of you, which helped a lot. Weirdly, like when I graduated high school and realized how much pressure I escaped from compared to my friends and like what their parents were making them go through, made me feel a whole lot better. So at least I didn't have like parental pressure to like do really well in school. But tell me why I have so much like, I'm sorry, I have some academic trauma and PTSD going online. Oh my god, that's a whole nother thing. I got Instagram only 3-4 months ago. I did not have Instagram through all of high school, okay? I made 4 years of high school without any social media, okay? Besides like YouTube, and I wasn't even really posting stuff, okay? So I was off kind of the grid, okay? I got in multiple relationships. I had dozens of friends. I had friends out of other states. I'm just a very social person who would travel a lot and do a lot of fun stuff. So I didn't feel like I needed social media, okay? And no offense. And absolutely no offense. But if you don't text me about something or call me or I find out through a friend, it's not important for me enough. It's not important enough for me to know. Hot take. Okay, people will be like, don't you wish you had Instagram? Don't you wish you had social media? Not really, because I'm like, I would just find out. I would just, if it's important enough, someone would just tell me. Also, I don't really care what people think of me, and I had really no urge to show people snapshots of my life. Okay, if you see me, you see me, and if you don't, you don't. And I am so grateful, and never tell my parents this, but I'm so grateful I went through high school without social media because I just got it 3 months ago, and I fucking hate it. Like, the fact that, like, I never really understood a lot of things, or I was not really in on it. Don't get me wrong, not having social media growing up gives you incredible FOMO, okay? The fact my friends around me would always mention things I had no idea what they were talking about gives you FOMO because you want to know. Like, I understand that, that's very valid, but like now I have it and I just fucking hate it. Oh my god, I post too much, it's cringe. I post too little, I'm off the grid, okay? I post about a genuine fun time, it's not a good photo. I post a good photo, it's fake. I look at who's following. I'm too shallow, but I don't look at who's following me and I'm oblivious. There's no winning on Instagram. There's no real reason. With how accessible now figuring out what someone's life is and how it's going and stuff like that is so nerve-wracking to me, because how do I not look? I hate when people look at me and like, you just shouldn't look. How do I not look? Also, the fact that like now people can see what I'm doing too, which I gotta be honest, some days people suck. Some days my day sucks, but I can't share that online, because if I share that online, people are gonna ask me if I'm okay. Sometimes, no, I'm not doing well, but I don't think we need to burden everyone with that. So I'm just showing the good things in my life, which is so not accurate of my life whatsoever. Okay, there's a lot of bad and there's a lot of good. I think I've just not had Instagram long enough, but it's like, it makes me mad. And also the fact that people can stalk you. I am pro stalking. That sounds bad. I think it is the right of anyone to use their electronics to find out whatever information they want to find out if they do the work. On Instagram, however, it's super easy. It's put in a name, find a follower through a follower. I wasn't really aware of Instagram stalking. What really freaked me out was just how easy it is when my friend showed me. And I was like, oh wow, that is information now that I will probably never forget. And creeps me out just a little. I knew someone that said to me, I wish you had Instagram. And I said, why? And they were like, so I could stalk you. And I thought it was a joke, so we both laughed. And then they did. So now people just can look at what I'm doing all the time. Now, yeah, I can make my account private, but I'm not hiding anything too. I think a lot of people are going to watch this and think to themselves, this girl just does not understand the concept of Instagram. And maybe I don't. But all I want to say is that sometimes I'm having a bad day. And I wish I could tell people I'm having a bad day and that could be okay than me just always having a good day, right? The whole point of Instagram is that I'm constantly comparing myself to other people's achievements. And coming back to the whole point of being at the University of Arizona, the University of Arizona has about an acceptance rate of 80-something%, okay? I have a lot of unresolved academic trauma and PTSD from working my mind into the ground for 4 years, taking the most difficult classes my school got to get such an amazing GPA to go to the University of Arizona. And I like the University of Arizona, and I think it's a good school. But even though I was not directly told you need to get good grades, I felt so much pressure and like anxiety being around the people I grew up with and like in the culture I was in to do well in school, to then not even go to a school that is academically challenging, okay? I went education major, okay? From the get-go, I knew I would not be going to an Ivy school, because why am I paying $30,000 more for a degree I can get literally anywhere? Except the one Division I school I got recruited by didn't have my major. That was the biggest FU of my entire life. Yeah, I have a lot of academic trauma, I believe, and I don't think I have the time right now to get into it because I have classes starting in a couple days. So I have to start a whole new 4 years of my life. But why did I take so much difficult classes? I'm not that smart. I've never said that I was smart, and I don't think I'm smart, but I took these difficult classes because I was a hard worker. I don't think you should have to work hard all the time, though. Why did I take a geometry honors class when I had no pursuit in doing STEM or any math in college? Why was I struggling so hard in a chem academic class, but I was doing so well in an AP Lit class? And I'm not saying anyone said this, but the pressure to like do well academically if you had like 2 brain cells was so toxic. The fact that I felt like I didn't matter or have any value as a human being if I did not do well in school or pursue academically challenging colleges was so intense. I was in the room when people talk about people that went to easier schools or easily to get into schools with higher acceptance rates. And people were like, what? We would never say that about those people. No, yes, you would. I was in those rooms when we talked about people that went to safety schools, okay? And it was horrible. And I worked so hard for practically nothing, okay? I could have taken so many easier courses if I told myself, just go to school to learn, not to take difficult courses. And also, by the way, you're going to the University of Arizona. It would have done so much for my heart. And I know it's nice to say in the back of my head, hey, the people that did do all the most rigorous classes and the people that did go to the Ivies are probably the most depressed. But don't tell me that you go on social media and you see people going to all these elite Ivy schools and you don't feel bad about yourself. It's like, worked so hard. And the way you show off your hard work in high school is by what college you go to. And then I went to a easier to get into college. And so yeah, I feel like crap. I feel like I should be allowed to feel like crap. So yeah, I have a little anger and PTSD from school. Okay, oh my God, what made me lose it is I hate when people take a test and then they ask, what did you get? Who cares? I'm about to crash out. Who cares? I have to like lower my voice because there's people I live next to. I knew as soon as my classmates asked me, what did you get? They did really well. I knew it. And you know why? It's just, you could tell the vibe, okay? Because they don't want to share their poor score. They want to share their great score to make you feel bad or to make themselves feel better in comparison. There was a time where I took a math exam and the girl next to me, she's super sweet, asked me, what did you get? I got a 68 because I sucked at math and I still suck at math, okay? And my ass switched up the numbers, okay, and made it an 86 so I could lie to her and tell her I did better. Now, it was doomed. It was bound to happen because I'm dyslexic. It's probably the same reason why I failed the math exam, okay? But she did super well. And I hate that. I hate the whole let's share our grades. Why? Going to the University of Arizona and knowing that's never going to happen to me unless we all collectively fail and we want to just make sure it's not just us is so relieving. It makes me so calm and it makes my heart warm that I'll never have to go through experience again. I didn't come from a very academic, rigorous background. My dad didn't go to college, so there was no pressure on me whatsoever to like even go to college. It was kind of just like, you do you and whatever you think you'll be successful and happy in, which was like very supportive, but was not the attitude of other parents mostly all the time. So I didn't really have any pressure to do like crazy good in school, but I did well in school and I wanted to show off and then I didn't. Yeah, I do feel bad sometimes. I feel bad that I went to a school with like an 80-something acceptance rate, and I know a lot of my friends that did really well in school like went to like a 17% acceptance rate. And the reason is because this was the only place that I felt like would make me happy, and it does. I've been here for like less than a day. More than 24 hours, but less than 48. And I like it a lot. And I know this is the right choice for me. But how do you convey something as the right choice for you versus what everyone expects of you? Damn, that was kind of a bar. So yeah, I have a lot of anger and academic drama. And Instagram is only fueling that by showing me everyone's successes but mine. But yeah, I moved. I got all my stuff and I came to Arizona, basically across the entire country. One thing I got a lot from people that knew me is because I'm in the Northeast, or I was raised in the Northeast region, a lot of people stay in the Northeast for prestigious schools, with the exception of California, right? So when I told people I was going to Arizona, their reaction would be, wow, that's like really far. And it's like, yeah, yes, I did choose the University of Arizona to go far on purpose. It's not that I kind of just was sick of my town. Everyone loved it, and I was like, I think it's because I've been in one place for 13 years. I kind of just wanted to get out. Can't really move on without moving on. And I knew people that went to colleges that were like 2 hours drive away, half an hour away, 3 hours away. To me, that's not necessarily moving. And I know friends of mine that stayed close because of financial reasons. They got better in-state tuition. They got scholarships, which is like super valid. And I thought it was great. And I was like, get the bag. It's just hard to move knowing you're not really moving. Hard right away to me isn't moving. What I did, I feel like, is moving. Okay? I will not be home for a long time. I went out with a friend recently. And we're hanging out. And I'm saying goodbye to her. And she said, you know, I have a feeling you're gonna be back soon. What? That actually made no goddamn sense. What about me gives off the vibe like I'm moving across the country to come back in a couple months? What about me gives off that vibe? Nothing. The whole point you and I are hanging out, this last hangout, is because I'm gonna be gone. So far, I like campus. I like being here. I moved in and it's great. The people are really nice. I do have some notes. Where are the gay people? I don't know a lot about Arizona, and I know much less about the Tucson area, to the point where in my Google search history was, are there gay people in Arizona? And I still don't know the answer to that. Where are they? Maybe I don't really know what I'm talking about because I just got to campus and it's still like move-in process. But I'm thinking, let's do math, right? There's 53 something thousand students. Out of that population, shouldn't there be like noticeably gay people? Isn't that how math works? Like a population? What's also weird is because when you do meet cool people or hot people, there's a problem of perception. And what I mean by that is I can't tell what anyone's age is here, because if you meet a hot person, they're gonna either be 3 years younger than you or 5 years older than you, and there's no in between. What is also a little weird, and not even weird, just a little like kind of confusing, is because, how do I say this? If you are a white woman and you have blonde, brownish hair and you wear it in a tight ponytail to the point it looks a little bit painful and it's high, and you wear those like tops that are like the V-neck and they're like they're not casual, but they're not like, they're like athletic wear, but they're not quite athletic, and you wear the shorts, I can't really always tell you apart. And I'm sorry, because up close, when we talk and we have conversations, you are the nicest person around. Okay, everyone at the University of Arizona, and this is a fact, are so nice and so friendly, and I've had only great experiences. But you, up close, you probably are very complex, you have a lot going on, you have character, I understand that. But from afar, it's a little hard to tell you apart, to the point where I was in a store the other day getting something, and I was looking at this girl and she's looking back at me, which is a little awkward, and I keep thinking to myself, oh my god, that's the girl on my floor that I just spoke to today. And I'm looking at her, and it's assuming that we're gonna wave to each other because we know each other and we exchange names. So I'm looking at her and she's looking at me and it's getting a little awkward, and I like want to wave, but then she's not waving at me, which is weird, and I get up close and I realize it is not the same person at all. So I think people are sweet and complex and all super nice. They just kind of look a little similar, and there isn't that many distinguishing characteristics until you meet them in person. Even though you go to a big school doesn't mean you're necessarily not going to see the people that you live with or you are in classes with. Because I go on the main street and I go through my campus and I see the same people all the time, which I heard is a very common thing. I'm happy to meet new people. I needed to. A lot of people when they move get very emotional, nostalgic, they're very sad. They're moving away from their family, their friends. That has not happened for me yet, and I'm a little curious why or concerned. I know when you move, a lot of people have a lot of tears. There are some people though that cry like a lot and are very emotional, and it's hard for them to leave. Hot take, but if you are crying uncontrollably when you leave home and it's taking an emotional toll on you, I don't think you're ready to leave home. I don't think you should be like me and be soulless, but I don't think you should be moving, at least far. I think there's degrees of how much a person can take, and if you are already showing signs of that, maybe it's not the right move for you, and that is perfectly fine. I think everyone has different things that are right for them, and I think that's great. The University of Arizona was right for me, and an Ivy school is right for someone else, and I'm saying that out loud because I'm trying to manifest better feelings for myself, which I don't think will be successful, but that's okay. But honestly, I'm not sad, and I cannot tell if that is a personal thing to me, which I was just so ready to leave that I've kind of already processed it, or that is telling of the area I was from, as maybe I have outgrown it. What I really love about being here is that I don't know anyone except for one person, and she's the sweetest human being in the world. One of the most amazing things about not knowing anyone in an area is going out and not seeing your ex. Now if you haven't dated, you don't have to relate to this, but think about it as someone you're not friends with anymore, or an ex. But it got to the point where, because I was in my town for so long, every time I went out to get food or do something in town, I saw an ex of mine. Your ex is like your grandparents. You love your grandparents. They're the sweetest people in the world. But there's a reason why you don't live with them, and there's a reason why your visits with them are scheduled, because they may not agree or love all your life choices. And so when you see your grandparents, because they're just a little bit different than you and you don't spend all your time with them, it's not that you don't want to see them, and it's not that you don't want to spend time with them or say hi. You just want a little bit of a heads up. And that's how I feel about my exes. It's not that I don't like you. It's not that I don't want to see you or say hi or that we can't be friendly. It's just I want a little bit of a heads up, and I don't want the jump scare of it, okay? I don't want you to hit me around a corner and I'm unprepared. My biggest fear is that I look like crap, okay? Because sometimes you're tired. It's late at night. You were in your PJs. You're wearing your glasses that don't make you look so good, and you want to just go out and get a drink, or get some groceries. And you can't really do that anymore because you're like, oh, I might see my ex. And of course, you know in your head, when your ex sees you, that one moment of seeing you portrays who you are as a person, okay? One image literally means 1,000 words. It's just a little scary going out of the house. Now, is that completely my fault? Oh, yeah. I did not need to date as many people as I did through high school. I did it because it was nice. As I am going through my couple first days of college, I've noticed that my, self-esteem and my carefree attitude is starting to come back slowly like a superpower. My not caring what people think is starting to care back because I have no roots with these people, and it's I don't really care if you see me without makeup and in PJs. Yeah, I like that I don't care anymore, because in high school I cared all the time. I have friends of mine that told me they're going to the same schools, best friends of theirs, and exes and cousins. I can't imagine that. That sounds horrible. I don't want to know you, and you don't want to know me. I want to meet you. That's what I want to do. I want to meet new people. If you're antisocial or an introvert, you can't relate to that. God bless. I'm jealous of you. If you can be totally secure and happy in your life without meeting any new people, that's a superpower. However, the only way for me to be happy is to be involved in life. And that constantly makes me happy because I'm an extrovert, but it also makes me constantly feel insecure that I'm never doing enough, which is just an inner demon I gotta go toe to toe with. And that's just a tomorrow's problem. If you're curious, if you've never been to a big state school or the University of Arizona, the best way to describe it is it's like an amusement park, okay? You always know where you are based off all the signs and logos. You never have to ask, where am I? Always a store to buy things from. There's always food. There's always someone trying to give you something. There's always some guy trying to convert you to Christianity. I mean, that's kind of what state schools feel like. Also, academically speaking, they're kind of all sink or swim. It's either you can do as poorly as you want, you can barely get by, you can drop out if you want. The dropout rate is decently high for my school because how many people are just accepted. Or, you can go into the honors program, which I'm trying to do, or you can get all A's in your classes, or do dual majors and minors. And I think that's what I like about my school, is that any time I was in school and I was pressured to do really well on an assignment, I always broke, okay? Assignments where they were less than 5%, a homework thing, it was a slideshow, I made it look beautiful. I put in so much work, I could give you a lecture, I could teach the class. But anytime I had an assignment that was really heavy and the teacher looked at me and said to me, this is 20% of your grade, I broke, okay? I started sweating, I started freaking out, thinking that I'm not smart. I might not be. It was bad. I like when no one's looking at me is when I do my best work. And so that's what feeling, the entire University of Arizona, this kind of feeling of no one really cares how you're doing academically except for you. Going to an academically challenging school, like an Ivy or something like that, sounds like hell to me, and everyone's gonna be competing against each other because everyone's good. That sounds like a nightmare to me. Also, I love the fact that in college you could actually decide courses you want to take. When I was in high school my senior year, to prove how like academically rigorous my high school was with like no reason whatsoever, I did dual enrollment. So I took college courses in the afternoon. I had all A's in my college courses, but somehow I had B's and C's in my high school courses. In like my AP high school courses. How am I doing better in a college course than an AP course that is supposed to be like a college course? Do I feel bad about my decision of college? I think I just might always will, because I was around people that were crazy. Do I get jealous of people sometimes? Not jealous in the sense I wish I was them, but insecure because I'm not maybe on their level, or I've not done as much as them and I could do more. Is that a very human thing and everyone feels that way? Yeah.